Hello everybody and welcome back to another Writer's Tips and Feedback video. As I said in the last, this one is going to cover some common symptoms your characters with social anxiety would likely have during a social interaction, or more so before a social interaction, because the anxieties actually start for a lot of people before the actual event that is causing the anxiety. As I mentioned before, the amount of anxiety your character will end up feeling greatly depends on the severity of their disorder. Not everyone will have the same symptoms, and the amount of anxiety your character feels is going to depend on the familiarity they have with the people around them and the locations. Some of the minor symptoms your character might experience are called automatic thoughts. These are snap judgments where you expect something bad to happen or you start predicting worst case scenarios. Most of the time they're pretty unrealistic worries or things that could possibly happen, but the chances are really unlikely. Your characters might assume things about the person they're expecting to meet, such as maybe they're not going to like me, or what if I'm not what they expect, and things like that. Automatic thoughts come to your mind unprompted, and they're usually really unconsciously there. So you're not typically trying to think of these things at first, they just kind of pop into your head. And that's due to basically a habit or reflex of the brain. The brain is really an amazing thing, and it can learn behaviors and habits without you having to tell it to. So that's pretty much where automatic thoughts come from. You can have positive automatic thoughts, but for those of us who have social anxiety or any type of anxiety, usually the automatic thoughts are more on a negative basis. So, as I just said, automatic thoughts are basically learned behaviors. For me, in the past, some of my worries have actually occurred, which is now why I worry that they will happen again. That is typically what anxiety is. So, unconsciously, when faced with similar events, my mind reverts back to the old traumas. Now, traumas aren't always these horrible things, such as surviving an attempted murder. Trauma is any event which causes distress or injury, and these mean emotional traumas as well. Being picked on as a kid can be considered stressful and can actually be a trauma. It's basically the same thing. What is traumatic to me might not be what is traumatic to somebody else. Same goes for our characters. Our characters are going to have learned automatic thoughts, and they're going to base them off from what has happened in the past. If they have gone on a date and it went very poorly because they have bad communication skills, because they have social anxiety, then they're going to always have that in the back of their mind that they suck at socializing and that they aren't going to be able to conversate very well, and it's going to be very awkward, and it's going to affect the date that they are going on. So that is one way it'll affect them. I do want to point out that for the process of your story, if you're going to be writing characters with social anxiety, the automatic thoughts are learned behaviors, as I said, and it's important to know that it is absolutely possible to change your automatic thoughts through therapy. It's not necessarily easy, but it's possible, and if you would like, I can also do a video on the type of therapy that is most successful in changing the automatic thought process. I have no problem doing a video on that. Actually, I find it very interesting. Let me know if you want to hear anything about that. Personally, if I have to meet someone new or go someplace I've never been before, the worry begins the moment I'm made aware that I'm doing this. If I find out several weeks before the event, I'm going to be worrying from that moment on. If the event is several weeks away, my worry literally starts several weeks away. I will start the moment I am aware. As the time draws near, my worries actually increase. I worry about things like, I know I'm going to be anxious. What are the people like? Will they think I'm weird because I'm very, very awkward? What if I'm late? And then I worry about, what if I'm actually too early? What classifies as too early? Are they going to judge me by my size? What if I get so nervous that I stutter or start shaking? What if they notice? I worry that my face will turn red because it often does when I get uncomfortable, and it's so noticeable that it's just, I know everyone can see it. These are my most common automatic thoughts. I obviously have a lot more, but these are the ones that I'm typically faced with throughout many of my social interactions. And I basically end up making myself so anxious that I feel like I should cancel, but I don't want to cancel. But I also don't want to cancel because that would draw more attention to the fact that I'm not there, which puts more attention on me anyways, and that's what I'm trying to avoid. So your characters may be having a war inside of them as to whether they're actually going to go or whether they're going to cancel. And they also might be waging a war within themselves about excuses, even the littlest excuse, but they're trying to find that excuse as to why they can't go. It could be the smallest excuse, and it's really not even an excuse, but they will try to justify it in their mind as to why they can't go. That's just what people with anxiety do to try to rationalize something they know is not rational. I'd like to thank you all for watching this video and all the other videos that you've been watching. I really appreciate it. This channel has done better than I thought it would, actually, and so that's exciting, and it's all because you guys are watching the content. I would love if you guys would just hit that like button because that lets me know the videos that you're enjoying and the ones that you're not enjoying, because then I can create more relevant content on this channel, and that would be awesome. Don't forget to subscribe in case you already haven't to get notifications, and of course just to show me a little bit of love. And I would also like to open up the comment section for a little bit of dialogue about this topic. Did you know what automatic thoughts were before this video? And if so, do you have automatic thoughts when it comes to anxiety or any other situation? Because automatic thoughts are not just based on anxieties, they're based on every aspect of our lives. Have you ever written a character with social anxiety or general anxiety? Or do you have any questions that I hadn't answered in this video on writing characters with automatic thoughts, which is basically the first phase of anxiety?